Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection. I am Dr. Sharon Stroud. I am the president of the International Foundation for World Peace and Research, and also the founder, actually co-founder, of Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide. I greet you tonight with profound esteem and the acknowledgement at a very deep level that we are drawn together through our similarities and we grow through our differences. So we know that you did not tune in by chance, that we had a divine appointment here tonight together at Wednesday Night Live, Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection. My topic tonight is Seek the Sacred in the Ordinary. I love this topic. It's one of my favorites because we're acknowledging that our daily life is our temple and our religion. And as we acknowledge that our daily life is our temple and our religion, everything, I mean everything, shows up with a radiance of light, energy, and that miraculous field that we call the universe. So I do want to acknowledge those of you who are tuning in tonight. And as you tune in, I invite you to share where you are from. And if you have any prayer requests, just post your prayer requests. And as you post your prayer request, our Miracle Working Ministry of Prayer will pray over them for 30 days. Because we know that prayer is the most powerful energy in the universe, isn't it? And I'm seeing that Interfaith is here. I'm going to press the comments just to make sure that we get your comments and that I may acknowledge you. So tonight, you know that I always set the tone for our spirit, mind, and body connection. I share with you a chant from the Gandhi Foundation. So tonight from Angel Valley, we will be toning the sacred symbols that resonate to the heart chakra. Remember, a chakra is a wheel of spinning energy in a clockwise fashion. And that we have 7 major chakras within this body temple. And of course, Miss Minnie just loves to get in on this, and she's our little mascot every Wednesday Night Live. And she adores people. She loves people, don't you? Yes, you do. And so she's our mascot tonight, and she's with me every Wednesday Night Live as we acknowledge all our little four-leggeds, that they're all part of our family, part of the energy of the planet, and aren't we blessed for that? So as I tone the sacred Tibetan symbols, I invite you, as I make the declaration, to repeat after me. If you do not feel comfortable repeating after me, just silently say it to yourself. And as you say it to yourself, feel your heart open. This is a heart-opening declaration and chant from the Gandhi Foundation. It was sent to me when I was a presenter at the United Nations University for Peace in Costa Rica. And we were at the Gandhi Foundation and Memorial up at the university. It was such a beautiful setting. And I was sent a crystal bowl. And now this is 1987. In honor of the harmonic convergence. And the symposium was Seeking the True Meaning of Peace, where all the great luminaries on the planet came together and presented their amazing discourses. And conflict resolution, of course. Now, I believe that we can tip the scales in favor of spirituality and world peace. And that when we make a stand, and we take a stand to that effect, that everything unlike that shows up. It bubbles up. Now, we can react to it. You know, it's really fascinating that we can react to it, or we can just acknowledge that it's an energy. It may be vibrating at a lower frequency. It's all energy. Remember, if you want to know the secrets of life, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. That takes it out of the realm of personality into principle. And when we operate from principle, we operate objectively rather than subjectively when we're looking outside of ourselves for things. And not to say that there's not a lot going on the planet. There's plenty we can react to, and we do at times. However, we can recreate our experience, can't we? So I'm going to share with you, and I invite you just to repeat after me as I make this declaration into the law of mind. I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Right now, somewhere in the world, a Jew is saying her prayers. A Hindu is chanting a mantra, and a Buddhist is kneeling at her sacred shrine. Right now, at this very moment, someone is lighting a candle in a cathedral. Someone is making their hajj toward Mecca, for it is the will of Allah. And yet someone else is lighting a fire in a jungle, repeating an ancient mystical drama. Many, many pathways up the mountaintop, and the view is always the same from the summit. In the dawning of the spiritual sun, for a moment all faiths became as one. The Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jew became as one and somehow knew that mystic voice that calls to me, "Oh, yonder, yonder person, I am thee. We are one." This oneness moves beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation. The blood that courses through my veins is the same color of the blood that courses through your veins. And as we unite in our oneness, we grow through our differences. Yes, we're drawn together through our similarities. We grow through our differences. Tonight's topic is seek the sacred in the ordinary. And as we seek the sacred in the ordinary, and we live in the present moment, what is so fascinating about this is that as we live in the present moment and that we are mindful of our surroundings, we're mindful of what's going on. The Zen Buddhists have a saying about, the daily round, that there's a very fine line between getting up in the morning and going through our daily round, carry wood, stack wood, carry water, all of that. There's a very fine line between samsara, which means the daily round, and nirvana, which is the highest state of heaven that we can attain to on this earth plane. So as we, stack wood and carry water and we're about the daily round, that too becomes sacred. And Brother Lawrence, the 5th century, he was in the scullery, he was doing dishes, he peered out the window and suddenly everything was illuminated. Everything shone with the radiance, luminosity, and energy. And at that moment, that light was so bright that he was transformed. He felt that energy of oneness, the oneness that lives and moves and has its being at the center of each and every one of us. Yes, regardless of color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation, that we are one. So as we seek the sacred in the ordinary, what we know is that the luminous energy, the magical energy of life is there. Blessed are they who have eyes that see, who have ears that hear. And what's so interesting, So many people are waiting for that vacation, and they're going to go over here and they're going to go over there, and this, or they're going to go to sacred sites. Now, I love sacred portals. And yes, we feel the energy of these very beautiful sacred places. And it is a spirit of place. However, that sacredness lives and moves and has its being within our own heart center. For where our treasure is, there our heart will be also. So as we, no matter what it is that we do, we go about our daily rounds with a sense of sacredness, with a sense of mindfulness, with a sense of knowing that that one goes before us and prepares the way as we become the light into our own path, drawing others into that light and into that energy field. And it's not that we do not have challenges. We have things that come up. I was sharing the last couple of weeks. Well, actually, it was the day after Easter. And I received this cease and desist order from the park that I live in, that someone reported that I was doing business out of my home because I was having church services. But taping a service and having a church service are two different things. I will say that on Palm Sunday and Easter, yes, we did hold out in the courtyard a beautiful, beautiful service with 10 to 12 people on Palm Sunday and the same on Easter Sunday. People are still wary about going out and joining groups. And I understand that completely and totally, and I respect that. I know that when we are socially mindful, that we use wisdom in the things that we do. So we all have our own protocols, our own formula. I do certain things for my immune system, and that's what works for me, and I'm very grateful for that at this juncture in my life's unfoldment. That I've realized that we're all guided and directed in our own way, and I have great respect for that. So tonight, when we look at, and I would love for you just to, for a moment, to feel that sacredness of who you are, where you are, and the opportunity that we have. I mean, I look out my window and there is a mountain which I affectionately refer to as my Himalayas, out on the prairie. I look down and there I put all this bird seed. There are the bunny rabbits, there's the squirrels. We have these darling little chipmunks that come, and of course the doves, the quail, the finches, they're all there, all these species. They're just, and I put a lot of bird seed. So they're just joining in together, having a meal, right? At the sacredness in that and the energy in that, when I walk out my door in my courtyard, to the left, I have a little candelabra. This is my 6th mama dove who laid 2 eggs. She's got 2 babies. And it's always wonderful to bear witness to the energy of nature. And that as the little ones start fluttering their wings and eventually take flight, and the mother also. And then I empty this nest because in reading up on doves, they make their own nest. They have their own energy. Isn't that fascinating? I left the nest in there once for a few months. Nothing happened. When I took it out, immediately another mama dove came and started building her nest, had 2 eggs. They hatched 2 beautiful little dovelings. And it was just fascinating to see them grow. And right outside my door, in my candelabra, so magical. And as we give thanks for the opportunity to be in the world, think about it, to be in the world, to live, to love, to laugh, to weep if we need to weep, to realize that we are supported in our process. So when I received this cease and desist order, I went within, I wrote a loving letter, and, just acknowledging that I want to be, it is my intention to be a beneficial presence on the planet. And I copied, several people with the letter, and our sales manager at Desert Crest, her name is Carol, and she loved it. And we had this beautiful exchange of just looking at life, and that some people operate from the letter of the law and others operate from the spirit of the law. And that we made reference to the energy of this board that, are feeling very powerful. But the truth is, there is only one power, and that power comes from the energy of the universal heart, mind, and spirit. Now, I had the opportunity in the 80s to meet one of our president's wives, and they were on the campaign trail. And my dear friend took me. He was the deputy mayor of San Diego. He was a dear friend then. And he was very excited to introduce me to which he hoped was the future president, which he was, and his wife. And he was he was just proud of me. And I'm in my 30s, and I have this congregation of over 1,000 people at that time in San Diego. And he introduced me as Reverend Sharon Stroud. And she's a minister, and she sort of looked blank, and he said, and she's a minister. And she said, so? And there was this very, very uncomfortable silence. And she turned to me and she said, dear, you'll discover that the only power there is politics. Can you imagine? I felt that I needed to give her some benefit of the doubt. So I thought it must have been a really hard campaign trail to be saying something like that to someone you've just met who is in the ministry. And I said to her, well, maybe you'll discover that there is a higher court. And that was the end of it. So energetically, what happened last Friday is the Supreme Court mandated that churches may have their prayer meetings in the homes. And I received a letter from someone who had written a letter to this particular board. And the letter said that he had spoken to the Religious Liberty Coalition, Religious Freedom Coalition, and that it was across the board. It included HOAs and leases and included everyone. So my dear friend Claudia of Moon Powered Astrology said to me today, well, when you say, let's go higher yet, you went to the highest court of the land, and the universe backed you up and supported you. So we may tape, in the privacy of our own home, which I had been doing. And energetically, the opportunity that we have to just look at what's going on the planet and to spiritualize these things as they come up. Happy people, fulfilled human beings, do not look outside themselves for their power. That power is within. As within, Emerson said, so without. And if we go within to that secret place of the Most High, and we pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. So my dear Claudia said, you took it to the highest level, which is the highest court of the land, which is the Supreme Court, and you were supported. And there was a certain surrendering in that. And as we surrender and we let go, and I mean truly surrender and let go. And remember, when we surrender and we let go, we're allowing a higher power to come forth and to do the work. When Jesus said, I of myself can do nothing, it is the Father within that does the work. He was referring not Jesus, the personality, but as his humanness gave way to his divinity, the Christ consciousness arose triumphant and victorious. And when Buddha talks about the compassionate heart, that each and every one of us, it's like We want to judge those that are so intolerant and sometimes very rude. But the truth is, we need to send compassion, even if it's being directed toward us. We need to send compassion, to send a sense of equanimity and peace. My peace I give to you, my peace I leave with you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You believe in God, believe also in your own Christ nature. That place within us, that Christ principle that lives and moves and has its being within each and every one of us, regardless of color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and oh yes, political affiliation. So tonight, we're looking at the sacred in everything. I love one of my colleagues, Dennis Merritt Jones, who wrote The Art of Being, which is my theme this month, and I love his book. He said he got on a plane to do a seminar in Las Vegas. And he said, they were almost there. From LAX to Las Vegas, it's a really short trip. However, and we're experiencing this now, very high winds in the desert. And so there were very high winds in the desert, and there was only one landing field open. And so the pilot apologized and said that they would have to circle, the airport until it was their turn to land. And what happened is the winds the gusts of wind became even more powerful and absolutely amazing. And he said, this was an E-ride. And he said, this took the roller coaster at Six Flags. It paled for what, and for what they were going through on the airplane as it dipped and dove and all of this turbulence. And he said, so several people on the plane lost their cookies. And he said the barf bags were right there and everyone was throwing up. And he said, to make matters worse, here you are and you're in this situation and you're being, tossed and turned and up and down. And then people are ill and experiencing dis-ease right next to him. And he said, in the middle of it, where, he's just thinking, oh my God, let's land. There was a baby. And each time the plane dipped, the baby giggled. Isn't this fun? And each time it went up, the baby giggled. And he said, what he got is that baby was not trained to feel fear in an airplane, but was so present in the moment and feeling the energy of what was going on that it just giggled and gurgled and laughed. And he said, at that moment, he said, I too giggled. I too was present in the moment. I too no longer could smell the stench of people throwing up around me and in the plane dipping and diving and all of this turbulence. I was in the present moment. And he said, I thought of the statement, unless you become as little children, you shall not see the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. Unless we become as little children, we shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven, the highest state of consciousness that we can attain to, unless we become as little children. And in that moment, everything was sacred. Everything shifted for him as he kept his eye on the little child that was laughing and giggling and enjoying every minute of it, had not learned to feel fear, had not learned that I should be afraid. And unless we become as a little child, we shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. So tonight, as we acknowledge the sacred in everything, even the person next to us, he said it was just outrageous. But in that moment, everything was sacred. And as I went within I had a very stressful week last week. I even broke out in hives. And it was so interesting because I had an appointment with my dermatologist because you know that I had skin cancer and I had 20 radiation treatments. and I am a success story. That was my alternative to the Mohs surgery that I had, which was devastating a few years ago. And I was, sharing, with her what was going on my chest and, on my neck. And she goes, "Oh, so the winds are so high now. I've got so many of my patients that are experiencing this." I didn't bother to tell her that I had some stressful occurrences that may have added to this response because I sublimated. And every time we sublimate, we know it comes out. We can do our meditations, we can know the truth, and we can let go and let God. But there are times that things in the human condition surface, right? And as they surface, we just acknowledge it and know that God is our source and move through it, right? And as we move through it, we come out on the other side. Wonderful things happen. And I received a beautiful, it's like a cloth plaque from Terry Angel, who does the sacred land blessings. I say to her, she who does the sacred land blessings and is a blessing, sent me this beautiful, it's a cloth plaque. And it talks about Sweet Rose of Sharon. And she wrote me this poem and about my love and my heart and my mind and my, it was just so absolutely, my warm hands. It was so beautiful. And I was so deeply moved and touched by that. And I called her and said, I've had a very interesting week. Remember, the ancient Chinese never cursed anyone. They only wished them an interesting life. I want to see, before I go into our spiritual treatment, I want to acknowledge that my Debbie Garcia is here, and I love you. And Marlene is here. Love to you, Marlene. And Ryan, good for you. And my beautiful Rhonda from Florida is here. And I just want to acknowledge all of you who are here with me tonight, with Miss Minnie and me, as I go into our spiritual treatment. And remember to post your prayer requests, where you are from. We always love to know where you're from. And I'm feeling a great gratitude and tremendous, overwhelming love for what has happened this week and the opportunity to face it, to surrender to it, to let go, never knowing that the Supreme Court would get involved. I am in such gratitude, such deep gratitude. And for all of you who have been knowing the truth for us at Interfaith, thank you. We are, we're going out into the community. And, when it's time to do that, but right now, the sanctions on houses of worship are still in place. Our things are still at the Lieberman Chapel. So we need to, take care of that as well. But I want to thank each and every one of you who have been sending positive energy and light. I've felt it, I've experienced it, and I'm so very grateful for it. So as we go into our spiritual treatment tonight, I want to remind you that a spiritual treatment is a positive prayer of alignment. We don't beg, we don't bargain, we don't beseech an anthropomorphic God sitting on a great big, throne with the long flowing beard and a little black book saying, okay, that's two. Our God is love. Our God is energy. Our God is within our heart, within our soul, within the context of the universe and beyond. Our God is all-inclusive. Oh, yes, beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation. Our God is all-inclusive. And the inclusion of this energy envelops each and every one of us in the everlasting arms. We know there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, and that life is our life right here and right now. Nearer than breathing, take a deep cleansing breath all the way down to the soles of your feet, remembering that your feet represent your understanding on the physical plane. For did not the psalmist say, with all you're getting, get understanding? For there is a spirit within man and within woman, and the breath of the Almighty hath given them life and understanding. Through this sacred understanding, we acknowledge that all paths that lead to God are good. And as we declare, that which needs to be healed is healed, that which needs to be revealed is revealed, that which needs to be known is known, and that which needs to be released is released, quickly, gently, and with grace. For eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man and woman the things which God hath prepared for them that love. Whatever name you put on your higher power, it matters not, but to acknowledge that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world of conditions, appearances, and effects. And I want to add, if there's anyone viewing tonight that possibly cried themselves to sleep last night, I want you to know that this word is for you and that you are not alone. The love of God surrounds you, the light of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for this way of life, for the recognition of our oneness, that we bless those that curse us, that say all manner of evil against us for his name's sake. And we know that we send the compassion and the energy out to our planet that needs it so deeply. And as I let go and let God do what God does best by means of me here tonight, I know absolutely and totally that God always gets the job done quickly, gently, and with grace. And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much for being a part of Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, the Wednesday Night Live Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection. That as a virtual community, we know that miracles happen and that we create the space for them. We are in the miracle business. And remember that prayer is the most powerful energy in the universe. If you have a prayer request, you place it, just post it, and we'll receive it. And we're treating for one of our loved ones whose husband fell and broke his sacrum. And what we know is it's the breakdown for the breakthrough, and that he is supported, and that we've had other requests about, family members and jobs and prosperity and healing in the body, mind, and spirit. We know that God is our source. So I want to thank you for supporting our ministry financially. It has meant our doors are open because of you. And we have a wonderful interfaith angel, and I just give thanks every day that our universal message of oneness goes out into the world, and everyone and anyone who hears it is healed and uplifted by this universal message of oneness. So I want to thank Dr. Roger Bambanek, who is our host. I don't see him in the comments here, but we've got 5 pages going tonight. So he's probably on one of those pages. So if you want to go to the Interfaith Spiritual Center, it's actually Interfaith New Thought Spiritual Center. We wanted to get everything in so people would know we were New Thought. INNER, Interfaith, and it's right there on the banner, Interfaith, Interfaith New Thought Spiritual Center Worldwide. That's a lot to say, isn't it? And we have a PayPal account, we have a PO box, and we have a credit card opportunity if you call our number. So thank you so much. I want you to know that I am in such gratitude, that I love you. I'm grateful for you. And yes, we shall go higher yet. Yes, we shall. Namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you, and the God in you salutes the God in me. And if I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there is only one of us. Namaste. I say shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us, every single one. And so it is. And as I say goodnight, and with gratitude, with little Miss Minnie here, say goodnight. Say goodnight, Grace. We will see you next week with joy.